Welcome back to Brick Gaming Watcher. I'm back here today with another, you could say combo video. I'm going to do some test hands with mutants, kind of show off what the deck is capable of and what I found out what I can do with the deck, and to kind of show off this profile that I've been working on. It's going to be the same exact list as my last video, so if you haven't seen my last video, then please go check it out and it'll give more context to exactly what I'm playing in the deck. And let's get right into it. So this is the first test hand, and I'm going to try to play it out. So first off, the first thing I want to do is play Dimensional Fissure. I'm going to activate it to my side of the board, just as it's already on the board, and then my opponent can't Valor me. Sure, they can still Imperm, but that's one less card for me to worry about. Then when I activate Emergency Teleport, go ahead and special summon out a Mutant ST46 to my side of the field, and then activate its effects. Well, the effect on summon is search, so I will go ahead and search out for a Cry. Then I will go ahead and normal summon out my copy of M05 and activate its effect on summon. Going ahead and searching out for a Myutant, and I'm going to go ahead and facilitate a nice little cool combo. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and search out for a copy of, see, I want to set my fusion, so I will go ahead and search out a copy of the, where is it? Here we go. I'll search out a copy of Mutant Mist, since I already have ST46 and M05 ready to go. Then it doesn't matter which one you use first, but I'm going to use I'll actually use M05 first. Since ST46 is in defense, I'm going to get Tribute off M05, which will get banished because of Defissure. And then also I'll get rid of Mist. I will go ahead and get a copy of my Mutant Beast to my side of the field. Then I can use ST46 effect if I want to, which of course I will. I'll use its effect, he'll get banished as well, and then the card that I'll ditch to grave, in this case, so Punishment and Mutant Cry I can use in the same turn as both Interruption, but I feel like Impermanence will be weaker overall, so I'll get rid of Impermanence, which will also get banished because of the effect. I will then go ahead and special summon Arsenal to my side of the field. Oh yeah, and just in case, 3rd and 5th zone. You could do 1st, 3rd, or 5th zone, but this basically allows you to play around Relinquished Anima and any other, like, basically just that card, just so you don't fall into that trap. Then that's going to be the ending board, and I'm going to set, of course, Punishment and Mutant Cry, so I'll have 2 more interruptions. So here's what you're ending on with this first board. You're going to end on a spell, negate, a banished monster, up to two cards popped on your opponent's side of the field, and then a special summon to get either A, your big boy, because this sets up Ultimus, so you already have access to Ultimus since you use Mist as one of your targets, and then if either of these guys leave the field or anything like that, then easy Ultimus, and then on top of that, not only that, but you also have you can also go into the standard boy, which is Synthesis. You can also go into Synthesis and get another pop and then give yourself protection with his effect. And then also off of that, if either of these guys, neither of these guys' banished effects will trigger, or like destruction effects will trigger in this case, but that's not a big deal because you already have pretty much your entire board set up and you're good to go. Also, you lock your opponent out of monsters, graveyard monster effects, so you are fine at this point. So now we'll go ahead and do another test hand, and that's just like super basic. Sure, you saw a pretty decent hand, but even if you brick, this deck is still a lot better than other decks that brick. Like, I used to play a lot of True Draco back in the old days, like not True Draco Malifaux, but actual True Draco. And the difference between this deck and decks like True Draco is that with this deck, if you brick, you're still going to have playable back row and good playable back row. You're not going to like brick and just lose instantly because you didn't see a monster. You're going to be able to survive at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 turns, and then by then you'll obviously have seen a monster. So let's go ahead and do a second test hand, and let's see. And this is another super playable test hand. And sure, this hand looks a little bit similar to the first, but I do bump up copies of the big boys, and I am playing the max number of small boys I can, just so I have as much consistency as possible. So first I'm going to normal summon down M05, get his effect off. So M05 will go ahead and I'll search out for ST46, of course. So I'm going to go find ST46. There we go. Perfect. And now I don't see the field spell, so I can't do full combo off of this, unfortunately. But that is still perfectly fine because I can activate M05, tributing him off, and I can banish from my hand. Which one do I want to banish? Well, I'm going to use ST46 during the next turn as follow-up, so I'm going to probably banish off Mist just because Mist is really weak. It's not a very good card. No offense to Mist, but just not as good as a lot of other stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and summon out Beast, once again either first, third, or fifth zone, preferably. And that sets up a spell and trap negate. Spell or trap negate. Or, no, it's just a spell negate. Sorry. I lost my ability to speak English for a second there. Now I'm going to set Punishment and Trap Trick to my side of the field. And now here's the thing. First off, you have a Spell Negate. You have up to 2 pops with this one. And then off of Trap Trick, you can get anything from Impermanence to Cry. But I would probably go for Cry because at this point with Cry, you can totally easily go for Synthesis. Easily at this point. And you would already be pretty much set up. You're pretty much good to go. This is still an amazing board for the deck, and you're still looking at most decks not being able to play through that. A lot of decks are right now really expecting heavy combo decks or complete backward removal, but like playing for backward decks, but this deck is kind of neither of those. It kind of fits in the middle. It's control for sure. Definitely a control deck, but it's not super heavy. Like it's heavy on the backward, but not heavy enough for your opponent to just go only backward destruction. And also you have enough monsters and enough special summons. Your opponent can't really hit you with like combo negate stuff, but they also can't hit you with like just regular monster stuff. And just to give kind of an example, like Nibiru. What does Nibiru do against the deck? You're never going to get to 5 summons. The most summons you'll ever make, or even want to make on a single turn, is 4 summons. So this deck just doesn't lose to Nibiru. And you got D-Shifter, which pretty much breaks every deck in the game right now. Alright, here's a hand, you could say. This is not a very good hand, and, you know, I probably shuffle my deck a little bit more, but this is fine. I'm going to still play this out because we have Pop Extravagant, so of course you're going to banish 6. And now, assuming that your opponent doesn't have a hand trap, you're going to draw 2. But if your opponent does have a hand trap, this is still fine. You can still do stuff with this hand. So I'm shuffling up my extra deck. I'm going to go ahead and banish 2, 4, 6. Doesn't really matter which ones you banish. Yeah, this is fine. This is actually a perfectly fine banish. Not really a big deal. Then you're going to get your draw 2. And now your hand's looking pretty nice. Your hand looks pretty nice at this point. Not perfect, but still pretty good. You're going to normal summon out M05, and of course you're going to go up for ST46 since you already don't have access to that card yet. So I'm going to go ahead, grab a copy of ST46 to my hand. Boom, ST46 is in hand. From there, I can now use M05, tributing, and of course always getting rid of Mist because Mist is the worst possible one. In this case, I think that's the best target. So off of that, you're going to go ahead and get Beast, once again, first, third, or fifth zone, and you'll have an Imperm plus Ash Blossom. So even off of a brick hand, you still have 3 negates here. You still have 3 negates. That's not bad at all. 3 negates is still better than like what a lot of decks can do, like that we're in the rogue category. Like I'm saying, like that's not a bad thing either. All decks can get easy interactions, but for this deck to even off of a pretty bad hand, still have that much it can do. It's not that bad. Really not that bad. I'm going to probably be able to do 1 or 2 more test hands. I don't want this video being like super long, and then usually videos that are super long, I feel like, you know, kind of, even though they're good, it's long, and most people don't want to watch through all of that. And even me, like, sure, I prefer long form videos sometimes, but even for me, long form videos kind of aren't the best sometimes. So I'm going to just shuffle up my deck some more, get at least a little bit randomized, and then go ahead and shuffle up my deck, get a nice easy cut in, and hopefully I won't see a similar hand. Alright, is this hand playable? Not really. Not really, but this is fine. So if you're going first, your best play is to set, or actually even just keep Imperm in hand. So keep Imperm Ash in hand. Don't set anything just past turn. Or if you do want to set stuff, just set the Imperm and that's it. Because if you just start setting up a big back row board, if your opponent has anything that blows you out, then you're done with this hand. And you don't have access to really play any of these cards in response if they just activate Lightning Storm, Harpies, whatever. And then it just is kind of overextending. Now if you're going second, a little bit better in an argument that you have D-Fissure, but it's still not really that great. So this is what would be considered a brick hand, but even off of a brick hand, it's still playable. And I would say with this hand, you could survive up to maybe 2 turns. So I'm going to give myself one more card and see. Yeah, okay, no, this just keeps getting worse. Okay, expansion, you'll finally see expansion, but you have to be like the most luckiest person at that point to really survive past a hand that has that bad bricks in it. So even off of a brick hand though, that's still surviving a little bit. You just have to see your small boy by that point and hope that your opponent can't put up a lot of negates. Because they do, it's GG. The deck loses going second to a lot of negates, and that's why you play cards like D-Shifter, and kind of you can go completely nuts on hand traps and side deck with this deck. Like, just go completely nuts. That's kind of my logic anyways with this deck. And then going first, just backward deck. Go heavier on it if you're going to go first. So let's see. Next hand, and by the way, this is proxied D-Shifter. That's one proxy of this deck. Alright, off of going first, the first thing I would do is activate D-Shifter. Hopefully they don't have a negate. If they do, it's fine. And I'm going to set just expansion for now. Hold on to the cry just in case. Then during my opponent's turn, as soon as they summon out a guy or anything like that, I'm going to activate expansion. Then I'm going to go ahead and get a summon for M05. Activate M05. I'm going to go get a search for ST46. Set up my board a bit. Then if I can survive through next turn, assuming that I don't lose, I'm pretty much Gucci. Even if my opponent locks me out of something, I'm pretty much Gucci. If they lock me out of the extra deck, it's fine. Because at this point, this is full combo. I can do whatever I want with this. So that's why expansion is such a necessary card. Because if you bricked going first, it's just 3 more copies of like M05 or ST46 that you can get like super quickly on your opponent's turn and be able to play. And then I didn't really shuffle, but theoretically, if this was an extra card, I would have been fine as well. So yeah, even with that type of stuff, you're still fine with this deck. This deck is still easily super playable, even off of hands like that. And especially if you're going up against a slower deck, you're doing so good at that point. Because, hey, if the other opponent's playing a slow deck, you're basically going to be able to grind them in a lot of cases. Like, I feel like this deck, the points of potential where it's the best is mid-game. This deck is really good in the mid-game. Early game might be a little bit slow start once you open nuts. Late game, you have to really hope that you don't run out of resources. Mid-game, though, that's really the sweet spot for this deck. Get past, like, the first turn, maybe even 3 turns, and you'll just be able to overwhelm your opponent super quickly. And even on the first turn, you can still do overwhelming stuff depending on how your opponent looks. So, moving on, I'm going to do one more test hand, and then I think that'll be it. So, let's see, 3, 4, 5. Alright, yeah, this is playable. So, I'm going to go standby. In standby phase, I'm going to activate Ito. This way I can deck thin. So the whole point behind this is that I can deck thin, and then off of Extravagant, just be able to get 2 more cards faster. So I'm going to summon out ST46 and use its effect. So off of that one, I will go ahead and grab what I think would be the best card after this, which is Evolution Lap. So I'll grab Evolution Lap to hand. Then I will shuffle up. And this is, of course, to me, your opponent doesn't have hand traps. If your opponent does have hand traps, you're still fine, because if they like Ash, E-Telly, or they like Imperm, or Valor, ST46 in this case, you're still doing perfectly fine. So I'm going to cut my deck. Then I'll go main phase, start main phase. I'm going to activate Pot of Extravagance, banish off just like a random top 6 of my deck. So 2, 4, 6. Doesn't really matter what it is. I'm just going to basically go with what I banished last time. It's not going to really make a big difference. Unless you banish all 3 of each of your fusions, that's the only thing that will hurt. But you're basically almost guaranteed to never have that happen to you. So, draw 2. Cool. You got expansion, so you have follow-up plays. You have ST46 in hand. You have Evolution Lab. You're looking good. Now, of course, you can't use Evolution Lab this turn, put back Arsenal, but you kind of wouldn't even want to. So then I'm going to go ahead and normal summon M05, activate M05 effect, and at this point, like, what am I even going to search for? I'm pretty much cool. I'm good. So I guess I'll just deck then go ahead and grab Mist, because Mist is a good banish target. Really easy, just really nice to get rid of that card. Then I will go ahead and I will start off with M05 since it's in attack position, banish, and then also banish Mist. And of course I'm going to go for the best main deck monster in this deck. That's a big boy, which is Beast. Once again, first, third, or fifth zone. So Beast has hit the field. Then I'm going to use ST46, and I'm going to get rid of, to be honest, if I want to get rid of anything out of this hand, it's going to be Expansion. I'm just going to get rid of Expansion, banish it off. It's the weakest card you have follow-up for next turn. So you're already fine to go. So I'm going to go ahead and summon out Arsenal. Arsenal has now hit the field. And also Arsenal is the second best choice after Beast. So you're pretty much good to go. Then you have Evolution Lab for follow-up. But set Mutant Cry then during your next turn. These are your 3 follow-up cards. Because off of just these 3 cards on field, it's usually GG. Because you have a monster banish, you have a spell negate, and you have a quick play fusion, and in this case you can go for either Ultimus or Synthesis again and you're good, and then during the next turn you'll draw another Extrav, but you don't even really care at that point. It's not a big deal. So yeah, that's just some basic test hands and combos with this deck. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribing will mean a lot. The goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of next year. If you can help out on that goal, that would mean a lot once again. So I will see you guys all in the next videos. Peace.